7 hidden female weaknesses men need to know now. Have you ever stared into her eyes and sensed that she's holding all the cards? You've strived to be the ideal partner, attentive, supportive, genuine, but it still falls flat. You've heard her claim. She desires a solid guy, yet she chases after the one who barely notices her. You make yourself accessible, but she drifts further. You bare your soul, and she retreats. It leaves you baffled, drained, resentful, and most painfully, invisible. But what if I revealed a fresh perspective? What if I shared that women possess concealed vulnerabilities, unspoken yearnings, and subconscious triggers they might not even recognize themselves? Vulnerabilities that, when you learn to spot and handle them, grant you a subtle, resilient power, the kind rooted in stoicism. Remember, stoicism isn't about tricks. It's about insight, self-control, and empathy. Once you pierce the facade and grasp these hidden aspects in women, not to take advantage, but to steer your connections with insight, you regain your inner strength. This is about enlightenment, not schemes. In this video, we'll uncover 7 concealed vulnerabilities in women that every empowered man should comprehend. These aren't surface-level quirks. They're nuanced tendencies drawn from psychology, actions, and raw feelings, often veiled by poise, ego, or quietude. Before we jump in, let me pose this. Have you ever poured your heart into a woman only to watch her fade away without explanation? Have you been left in the dust with no answers? Have you second-guessed yourself despite giving everything? If yes, this is tailored for you, because the insights ahead could transform how you view women and, crucially, how you view your own worth. Hang tight till the end. Each insight layers onto the next. Skip one, and the full picture fragments. So, settle in with your drink or find a quiet spot and let yourself reframe attraction and authority anew. If this strikes a chord, smash that like button, subscribe to Stoic 95, and ring the bell. Your engagement spreads this wisdom to fellow men, forging paths of resilience, purpose, and dignity in romance. Let's dive deep. Point 1. The dread of authentic exposure. Recall an instance where you gazed at her, not merely her exterior, but her essence. You caught the flickers in her joy, the strain beneath her grin. Perhaps it was during a hushed evening or after an intimate chat. You felt bonded, like you were peeling back her layers. But then, a switch flipped. She withdrew, turned icy, elusive. Why does this occur? Here's a revelation few men uncover. One of a woman's profoundest secret fears is genuine exposure. Not the polished persona on social media, not the edited highlight reel, but the unvarnished core brimming with uncertainties, flaws, and old scars. When you begin to glimpse beyond the surface, an inner alarm sounds. True exposure demands raw openness, and openness is daunting, particularly for those accustomed to superficial praise rather than deep comprehension. She might profess a craving for profound bonds, and she likely does, but when it materializes, it unnerves her. It stirs shadows she's buried for years, perhaps from prior betrayals or from dawning facades so long she's forgotten her true self. Have you ever offered solace in her vulnerability, only for her to shove you aside? That's the fear manifesting. You're not isolated if this rings true. Countless steadfast, compassionate men encounter it and self-blame. But key takeaway, her response isn't your shortfall, it's her apprehension. So how to respond? Stay grounded, without desperation. Observe her without haste to mend. Offer room, but avoid tiptoeing. Demonstrate that your affection embraces her shadows without recoil or critique. When a man can hold space for a woman's reality unflinchingly, that's where true closeness ignites. That's when trust blossoms and she gradually unveils. Reflect on a current or past connection. Spot this dynamic? Perhaps now it clicks. Point 2. Hidden fragility beneath bravado. Picture that woman who commands the space upon entry, flawless stance, assured tone, gaze sharp and deliberate. She beams, chuckles, draws every eye. For a beat, you think she's unattainable. But here's an overlooked truth. Bravado frequently serves as crafted shielding. Underneath lies fragility, profound, subdued, concealed. You might recall someone like this now. That captivating figure you pursued. Her allure, vitality, autonomy drew you in. She diminished you, yet mesmerized. You showered attention, affirmations, perhaps your devotion. Yet, fissures appeared. Fleeting instances where she fished for approval. Queries like, "Am I alright like this?" despite her radiance. Or unease in quiet moments, scrolling endlessly. Or relying on your accolades to thrive. That's not fortitude. It's veiled fragility cloaked in bravado. Ponder this. Have you cherished someone who projected strength, only to discover her constant need for affirmation? Have you wearied from endlessly validating your care to affirm her value? It wasn't you. It was her latent craving. Stoicism urges us to perceive reality unfiltered. Herein lies your leverage. Recognizing her bravado as performance, not impregnability. You cease inflating her sway over you. Instead, you embody serenity amid her turbulence. The anchor who doesn't pursue but comprehends. The one aware that authentic poise emanates from tranquility, not clamor. Next encounter with a room-dominating woman, don't merely idolize externally. Observe keenly. Is her bravado anchored in equilibrium or fueled by visibility demands? If you're involved, recall, she seeks no rescuer, but constancy. Your stoic steadiness through her fluctuations makes you the rare man who doesn't amplify her fragility but soothes it via composure. Have you adored such a soul? You grasp the burden. Now, the clarity. Point 3. The longing for guidance. She declares a desire for equity, for collaboration, and she means it. Yet, beneath lurks an unvoiced truth, one she might deny even inwardly. She yearns for guidance, not domination, not oversight, but direction. From a man with purpose, lucidity, and poise. Have you observed her prompting, "What's our move?" or pausing for your initiative on plans, reservations, decisions? This transcends tactics. It's about assurance. Reflect. Was there a time she distanced when you wavered? Or grew remote amid your endless deferrals? You aimed for courtesy, granting her choices. But internally, she sought your lead, for guidance. She unwinds. In your certainty, she finds security. In your rooted vibe, her spirit settles. She wants to rely on you, but only if you withstand her emotional tides. Have you loved a seemingly turbulent woman? Tried pacifying via compliance, only for her spark to dim? That wasn't affection faltering, it was absent masculine steerage. Stoicism imparts firmness with equity, stability over reactivity. Precisely her unspoken wish. She desires a man unmoved by her tempests, who calmly asserts, "This way," navigating the chaos. Even fiercely autonomous women, especially them, harbor this. They shoulder burdens. Your arrival with intent lets them breathe. Question yourself. Have you guided or awaited cues? Offered your essence or perpetually sought hers? Your quietude, immovability, resolve, that's her magnet. Once sensed, departure becomes unthinkable. Point 4. The clash of self-reliance and closeness. She insists on self-sufficiency, thriving solo, and perhaps she does. She's forged her realm, charted her course, dons autonomy like armor. Then, intimacy encroaches. You pierce her barriers, and abruptly, she recoils. Sound familiar? Have you adored a woman professing closeness desires, yet repelling it upon arrival? That cycle of invitation, then exclusion, is rampant. Understand, she's truthful. She seeks bonds, unity. But when it jeopardizes her liberty, internal strife erupts. not your doing, her inner turmoil. Society drilled independence, non-reliance. Life perhaps compelled it via wounds, desertions, deceptions. Walls rose, resilience formed. Now, affection's entry evokes peril. Fear that yielding erodes identity. But your masculine fortitude shines here. Don't combat her self-reliance. Honor it, value it. Yet, don't flee it. Become the haven where vulnerability isn't extracted but invited. Her retreat? Not dismissal. Terror that unity equals capitulation, forfeiting hard-won command. Grounded, serene, enduring, you show coexistence of love and autonomy. Intimacy with you preserves her essence. Witness that pivot? When she finally yields willingly? That's influence. That's essence. That's stoic romance. She requires no savior, but aches for a man holding her firmly, silently, sans control urges. If you've navigated this, you know the challenge. Now, the insight behind her oscillation. Point 5. Yearns for steadiness but rebuffs it. Ever heard her murmur, "I seek someone reliable, who brings serenity," only to flee that serenity later? If that evokes buried recollections, linger here. Rewind to a scene, evening's end, you're home, fatigued yet eager. You fetch her preferred treat, beam, sustain warmth. She reciprocates fleetingly. Then, the air shifts. She detaches, muted. Eyes betray what words deny. "All good?" you inquire. "Fine," she claims, but falsehood rings. She'd once said, "You ground me." Yet in that grounding, she edges away. The core truth. A veiled vulnerability. Men overlook, women pine for emotional constancy, a core longing. Yet, some are wired by disorder. Upbringing steeped in it normalized turmoil. Peace arrives, and rather than solace, it feels alien, and alien breeds unease, despite necessity. Result? Withdrawal, fabricated disputes, labeling you too steady or dull. Not peace's fault, familiarity's grip. Brother, introspect. Have you loved by offering all she voiced wanting, met with ingratitude or bewilderment? Not your error, her imprinting from history's pains. Refrain from personalization. Discern the vulnerability in her response. Her steadiness aversion stems from her zone, not you. An empowered man perceives, doesn't pursue her disarray. He upholds firmness, stoicism, reliability for self foremost. Anchor pieces core, not act, attracting those primed for it. Not all are. If you've extended affection, tranquility, tolerance, and she resisted, you embodied the serenity she wasn't prepared for. Fine. Remain prepared. The aligned one will flourish therein. Point 6. The wish to be selected, not pursued. Probe this. Have you ever chased so fervently you eroded your identity? Texts piled, gestures orchestrated, presence imposed with boundless affection, yet she remained aloof, unresponsive. Consider Alex, a devoted soul enamored with Elena. He revered her laughter's cadence, her passion's glow, her subtle habits. He hounded relentlessly, believing pursuit equaled devotion till surrender. She yielded somewhat, but hollowness lingered. Physically present, emotionally barricaded. His efforts couldn't breach her core. Why? Profoundly, many women crave selection, not pursuit. Nuanced distinction. Pursuit reeks of urgency, pleading worth. Selection exudes authority rooted in self-value. Inviting equals without coercion. Reflect on your narrative. Felt soul maintainer? Sustaining dialogues, orchestrating outings, dissecting messages? Not blameworthy. Culture peddles this as romance. But the Stoic discerns superior. Bonds thrive in mutual selection, not one-sided hunts. This vulnerability selection yearning highlights needs for recognition, esteem, sans coercion. Pursuit corners. She evades. Cease hunts. Embrace selection. Prioritize self. Sensing your wholeness, autonomy, tranquility sans her you magnetize. Perhaps your tale demands ditching desperation arcs for selection chapters. Harness that overgiving recall not remorse, but evolution for altered futures. Point 7. Excessive rumination and inner turmoil. There's an eerie stillness in a woman proximate, yet absent. Her form near, comforting, perhaps nestled close, but her spirit roams, ensnared in unvoiced musings. You decode the void, praying affection suffices to anchor her. Evoke a memory, first spotting your beloved adrift mentally, sharing vulnerabilities, ambitions, anxieties, origins. She nods, smiles, but eyes whisper, present, yet besieged. This, friend, is a profound veiled vulnerability men miss, rumination, fused with turmoil. Beyond trivial frets, the nocturnal kind dissecting value, regretting yesterdays, dreading tomorrows. Men misconstrue as aloofness, chill, but she overflows with care. Simulations whirl. What if abandonment, inadequacy, overinvestment risks all? If she's abruptly retreated, silenced, diverted, sparked trivial clashes, it's seldom immediate. It's accumulated unsaid weights. Her rumination pits heart against intellect, overflowing unpredictably. Query, ever recline beside your love, her form against you, yet chasms apart? Not disconnection, turmoil. If genuine, embrace her quietude, don't flee. Stoicism embodies serene fortitude. Amid rumination, be sanctuary. Your constancy affirms not all queries demand resolution, not all dreads actualize. Often, she needs your storm presence, unyielding. And as we've traversed these 7 concealed vulnerabilities, pause and absorb the panorama. These aren't mere notions or clinical jargon. They're tangible echoes in bonds, midnight dialogues, lingering spats, tender exchanges. Grasping women's subtle emotional rhythms isn't for dominance or sway. It's forging manhood that hears sans bias, communicates truthfully, stands serene amid fervor. The Stoics' ethos: respond wisely, not impulsively. Revisit your history, that grip-holding woman. Perhaps she wept inwardly while you assumed harmony. Tested fidelity not from distrusting you, but self. Retreated, yearning proof of pursuit or restraint. Mastering her mute apprehensions, uncertainties. Tacit needs you evolve as superior companion, ally, self. Yet, this men's not women, but our lenses on them. Elevated views yield elevated influence. So, brother, which insight struck deepest? Which evoked past affections, shatters, bafflements? Let recollections propel wisdom, stoicism. If resonated even singly, act now. Subscribe to Stoic 95. This is fraternity, where men cultivate poised might over disarray. Like up, comment your tales, affections, fractures, epiphanies, vulnerability empowers. Share with a comrade in quiet strife. Thanks for tuning. Till next.